Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's always a pleasure to see you. I hope you're doing good. You'll be glad to know we're all done with the first round over in Germany and in Queens. We move into the round of 16, 4 matches in each for us to go through today, 8 in total. We'll be sure to go through each and every one as always. Make sure you get yourself involved, get your predictions in the comments, best bets as we go along, all that stuff. If there's anything I'm going for personally, that's going to be in the pinned comment. Make sure you're checking that out as much as you can. Before we get started, like the video, get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're not. I'd appreciate it if you did. You know, prior to the French Open, we were barely just over 1,000. I think we're not that far off 1.7 now, folks. I'm very, very proud of what we're becoming over here. I appreciate each and every one of you. You know that. If you're not involved already, you know what to do. We'd all love to have you. Now that's out the way. First things first, back to business. How did we get on in day 2? No dice for me, unfortunately again. I was a little bit disappointed in Ben Shelton. I thought he could have done a little bit more, but you know me, there's no bitterness in my heart towards any of these players. It is what it is, and quite frankly, don't take this the wrong way, I don't really care. I'm more interested in what is in front of me today. As I say at the start of every tournament, that's the first round for you, folks. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe it's shit, but get yourself involved. Let me know, did you win, did you lose, did you just come close? Very well then, very well. Although I do seem to be a little bit behind in the count, I do think the day of redemption is most definitely upon me. So if you are feeling a little bit beat down and bruised from that first round, just know this: I refuse to take wounded soldiers into battle with me. So for those that are always ready to go once again, today will be ours. I've got a very, very good feeling about that. Let's get it on, shall we not? First off, over in Germany, we've got Bergs and Khachanov. Should be a fairly interesting one. I think this would have been a bit more interesting if they either played each other last week over in Den Bosch. Well, that's alright, because they play each other now. How that would have went last week, I'm not too sure. I think Bergs was very, very, very good last week. Very impressive. He seems to have just gotten better as that week went on. These have played each other once before, back in 2020, so 5 years ago. I don't think that means a lot in this spot. Personally, Khachanov 1.45, call it 1.5 for Khachanov today. I think that might have something to do with how deep Bergs just went in Den Bosch. You know, we did get to the final. He played a couple of grueling games as well. He did at the start. It seemed to get a little bit easier for him as the week went on, until he bumped into Gabe Diallo in the final. No shame in losing that. Diallo was playing very, very good. He even beat Khachanov. I think all this depends on how Bergs turns up. Now, I can't remember which tournament it was. I know it was earlier on, maybe hard court. It could have even been at the start of the clay season. Bergs have been playing really well, and we've been taking him. And I'm pretty sure he went rather deep in a tournament, and then he had a rather quick turnaround, and he looked like crap. I can't remember when, but it definitely happened. Now, that's not saying it's going to happen now, but I wouldn't be too surprised if he was just a little bit worse for wear coming into this one after the week he's just had. It is a tough one. Would I be taking Khachanov at 1.4? I don't know, man. I don't know. Bergs is good on the clay, man. He impressed me last week. He really did. I weren't that sold after the match against Alexander Blocks. Same with the one against Popyrin. 2 tight ones against Mark Leal. Easy as you like against Raleigh Pelka. And then, like I said, Gabe Diallo. Couldn't take a set off him. It was a decent game, nonetheless. I think this is just the type of tournament that Khachanov could get himself a nice little run in. Am I banking on him doing it? Probably not. 1.4, it's a little bit steep, right? Maybe it's that way for a very good reason. I don't know. Maybe just live bet this one. Bergs turns up and looks good to go. Like I say, towards the end of last week, he looked in rather fine fettle indeed. Maybe take him for the set. I couldn't trust him. That's not to say he's not trustworthy, because he most definitely is. especially on this surface, but we see it more often than not, don't they? For some reason, they play at tournaments, they do really well, they come into the other one, and they do shit. I'm quite hesitant to take Zizou Bergs, even though I was quite impressed with him last week. Like I say, it's not a fade spot. I'm not that comfortable taking Khachanov at 1.4. Should he get it done? I don't know, man. He's been fairly decent as of late. Definitely picked it up come the clay season. Talking 15-14 on the season for Khachanov as opposed to 23 and 14 for Zizou. Bergs 4-1 on the grass for Bergs, 1-1 for Khachanov. You pay your money, you take your choice, but 1.4 does seem to be a little bit steep in my opinion. I'd be staying well off at that. Zizou Bergs can turn off, maybe have a look at the over. I do think it'll be a little bit big of an ask for Zizou Bergs to come up and just take him out. I really do. Not saying he can't, but like I said, more often than not, you see people look a little bit worse for wear after he's just had a decent run, so I'll be out of that one. As far as a lean, probably have to be Khachanov, right? I'm not picking it with much conviction, but we'll move on to Marcus Giron and Zverev. Zverev's back. He looked decent last week in Stuttgart. It's unfortunate he had to play Taylor Fritz in the final, because it looked like he was no match for him. No match at all. I think he stands a much better chance against Marcus Giron, don't you? Now, I don't think Zverev is going to win this title either. He may make it to the final. However he wants to go about it, I think it's safe to assume he probably should be getting past Marcus Giron. This is one of them games where you can say he probably should be winning this, right? And that's nothing against Marcus Giron. He is currently on a 3-game losing streak. Wants a QB hair catch in Rome. Decent performance, took a set. Absolute stinker to Roberto Batista Gube over in Hamburg, and then he looked alright in the first set against Italian Greek Sport and ended up losing 3-1. I haven't seen him play yet on the grass as opposed to Zverev, like we've just seen. 3 wins, 1 loss last week, getting to the final. It has to be Zverev. It just has to be, doesn't it? I mean, 1.15, you're not going to be taking that. You won't be going anywhere near it, but I see only one winner in this one, folks. I really do. Don't know what that spread's going to be. Is it 4.5? Even if it is 4.5, I think it's very doable for someone like Zverev against Marcus Giron. You know, does the same apply to Zverev? He has just went deep. He got to the final as well. I've just said it with Zizou Bergs, so surely the same should apply to Zverev, right? I don't know. Maybe he's a bit more of an exception in this kind of matchup. I'm not going to be taking it anyway. Not going to be taking it. I've got absolutely nothing for this. Zverev, the winner. That will be your lot. And then we've got Quentin Halys and Daniel Medvedev. You want to take Medvedev, don't you? I do. I know. I'm looking at it. 1.4. And I'd love to take him. Head to head is one apiece. These haven't played each other since 2023. Both of them coming on the hard court. Medvedev winning that one. Quentin Halys beat him in 2015, 10 years ago. Wow. Madness. What were you doing 10 years ago, folks? Fucking can't even tell you. Probably working some shit job or something. That's what I was doing. Yeah, it's neither here nor there. Point is, it was a long time ago. Long time ago indeed. I'm more interested in what's been going on more recently, especially on the ATP Tour anyway. Quentin Halys looked fairly decent. Both of these 2 wins, 1 loss so far on the grass. Quentin Halys beating Sonigo. Decent performance against Taylor Fritz. Didn't expect him to win, and he didn't. And he put in a good one against Benjamin Bonzi. He was slightly favoured to win that, and he looked alright. He did 6-4, 6-4. Sound. Say something about that. And then touching on Medvedev, he got past Manarino in Den Bosch. It's whatever, you know. Looked like he had no answer for Raleigh Pelka though, did he? No answer at all. But then coming over to Germany, he looked a little bit better against Daniel Altmaier, a bit more convincing. But I expected nothing less. I expected nothing less. 6-3, 6-3. Tough one with Medvedev. We know the ability. There's no question about the ability. It's just how he's going to turn up. I never know how he's going to turn up, man. This guy could turn up and just bitch you around the court and have it done within 45 minutes. Or he could turn up and it looks like he's been playing fucking Rainbow Six Siege all night. And I wouldn't blame him either because it's cool as shit, but you've got fucking business to take care of, haven't you? I'd be worried, slightly concerned for Daniel Medvedev in this matchup. I do think he should win. Do I think he's going to? I mean, thinking he should. And him turning up and executing it, two completely separate things. I do think Daniel Medvedev operates well on the grass. Same could be said for Quinton Halys. Probably even more so. 2-1 this year. 5-1 last year. 3-1 before that. 6-5. We then touch on Medvedev. Like I said, 2-1 this year also. 6-2 last year. 7-3. 8-3. 7-2. You get what I mean. Such a winnable game. Such a winnable game. We know Quinton Halys can turn up. He can serve well. He can hit hard. He can keep it close. He can keep it tight with the best of them, that's for sure. Don't know what that spread's going to be. I know last time out we got about 4.5 against Taylor Fritz and he covered that 6-3 and a tiebreak. It's not going to be anywhere near that. I think I haven't got it in front of me. Around 1.4. Daniel Medvedev is a favourite. That seems about 2.5 for me. I don't know. He has played good enough on the surface in the past few seasons for me to suggest that he could potentially keep this one close some way or another. Do I see him taking a set? Like I say, if the real Medvedev turns up, probably not. But these rather convincing victories have been quite few and far between as of late for Daniel Medvedev, so I am expecting him to get it done. 1.4, 1.35 seems a little bit of a price to pay to find out, don't you? I mean, if you bet that and you watch him just get dogged out by Quinton Halys, you'll want to vomit. I'll be going with Daniel Medvedev. I would, fuck it, why not? I'll be going with Daniel Medvedev. I'm not crazy for assuming he probably should be Quinton Halys on the grass, right? Anyone else? You don't have to be betting it, but anyone else think he's just going to win this? I don't know. Halys is definitely in with a shot somewhere along the line, but ultimately I think Medvedev should be pulling through in that one. And then wrapping us up over in Germany, we've got Alex Michelsen, Stefanos Tsitsipas. Once again, who remembers this one? Start of the year, Australian Open. I do. I remember it well, because I thought Tsitsipas was going to do rather good against Alex Michelsen, and it was quite the contrary. Fair play to the American here. I mean, 7-5, 6-3. He dipped a bit in that third, 6-2 to Tsitsipas, and then come back, whooped him 6-4. I was mighty impressed indeed. But then I remember a lot of us were kind of expecting it, because he done more of the same the year before in Tokyo. Head to head is 2-0 to Alex Michelsen. That's right, both of them coming on the hard court. But we're not on the hard court, we're on the grass. And now, is he going to get on in this one? If I had to guess, I'd say more of the same. Simple. You know me, I love Tsitsipas. I always have done, probably always will. Alex Michelsen's decent on the grass, man. He's no slouch. I had to accept this last season, didn't I? And I weren't ashamed to admit it. I have most definitely warmed up to Alex Michelsen over the season. I did not rate this kid at all when I first started watching him, when I first sort of discovered him, but he's most definitely come on. Most definitely turned into one hell of a player. And he's more than capable of getting it done against Tsitsipas as well. Fact. Tsitsipas took a little bit of a dip in the rankings as of late, but I don't know. Maybe being 25th in the world, maybe that does kind of reflect where his game is at the moment. You know, he's nowhere near as lethal as what we've seen him be in previous seasons. Alex Michelsen's tough, man. He's tough, like I say, he's no joke. I thought it was over for him against Cerundolo, but no. He had a quite concerning first set, dropped that 6-2, come back 7-5, 6-4. Sweet as a nut, as I say. Same with Tsitsipas, he won that first set, ended up dropping the second, took a tiebreaker in the third to get past Darderi. And look, a lot of us kind of expected it. We knew Tsitsipas was going to win, kind of called that one to a T. I know we were floating about the idea of Darderi plus the points. We knew he had the potential to keep that one close, and that's exactly what he did. But I think Michelsen's going to be a little bit of a different beast, I do. Should be a good matchup. Say both of them playing on the hard court, so I couldn't really tell you how this is going to pan out on the grass. Tsitsipas just managed to come in clutch today. He really did. He hit a couple of decent shots in that tiebreaker, man. He really did. Will he come in clutch in this one? Like I say, I thought he was going to beat him in the Australian Open, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I would not be surprised if Alex Michelsen turns up and gets it done against Tsitsipas again. This could just be one of them matchups where he can just beat him. This is just a winnable game for Alex Michelsen, maybe. Odds are split pretty much right down the middle. This is a coin flip, a 50-50 match. Probably one of the toughest ones you're going to get all day. I'd like an over. I think you get a 7-5, a tiebreak out of this. You probably get a set either way. And then it enters God's hand. Once it goes into the third, whoever wins, wins. But I don't think it's going to be a quick one. I'd be surprised if either one of these comes out and just drills the other, like 6-4, 6-3. Probably good for a tiebreaker, right? Probably good for a tiebreaker, I don't know. You've just went 3 sets in the previous match with the previous opponents, so could very well be on for another one. I don't know, it's just food for thought. If I was picking a side, if history's anything to go off, it'd probably be safe to assume Alex Michelsen might just get this one done. But I don't know. I feel wrong going against Tsitsipas, man, I always do. I'd lean with Tsitsipas just for the one set. Because I've got a feeling a lot of people are going to be expecting Alex Michelsen to 100% be guaranteed to win this one based off previous experiences, but I'd be willing to back Tsitsipas to throw a spanner in the works here. I say throw a spanner in the works. I mean, he could easily win this one too. We don't know. He might be better suited to play Alex Michelsen on the grass. We just don't know it. That's it, innit? That's all of them. Yeah, I was looking for more. Sound. That's us done in Germany. Let me know what you're going for in them. Or are you waiting for Queens? Or are you gonna whip up a nice little parlay, include them both? Be sure to let me know. But we will get cracking over in London. First off, we've got Roberto Bautista Agut and Jakob Mensik. Be going with Jakob Mensik on this one. I would. No, I know it's Bautista Agut. And I know I said in the last one, even though you may not expect it, and it looked like there was a point in the season where he may not get a win ever again, he's still got a couple in the locker, and he will accumulate a few more wins from here on out to the end of the season. That's a guarantee. Think he's going to beat Mensik? I think it's a big ask, I think it's a big ask. I thought Mensik, say what you want about the results against Cam Norrie. Tiebreaker in the first, solid as you want. Dropped the second set 6-1, a little bit concerning. Now, I don't know what happened in the third, but he definitely found what he was looking for, and he'd come back, and he just got more than revenge. I was going to say, give Cam Norrie a bit of his own medicine, give him a little bit of a 6-1-2, have a bowl at that. Now, Bautista Agut, fairly decent against Nuno Borges. Shouldn't have been much of a surprise. He was actually a favourite to win that one, which probably takes a little bit of the magic away from the result, if you'd ask me. It's a decent one none the least, but say Nuno Borges, last time out against Ugo Humbert, he made Ugo Humbert look like Federer. He really did. And ever since that match, Ugo Humbert ain't looked nowhere near as good as that, especially against Diallo, and nowhere really near it against El Chapo yesterday. Bautista Agut, what do I do with you? 3-game losing streak prior to this tournament. 3 sets with Nuno Borges. I always say in this spot with Bautista Agut, pretty much anyone at that point in the career. Although it's a decent result and it does speak for itself in a way, the last thing you need is a 3-set war. The last thing you need is a 3-set war, especially coming up against someone like Jakob Mensik. I could only see this going the way of Jakob Mensik in this. 1.5 is that? Am I seeing 1.5 for Mensik? Oh, I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted. But I'm just hesitant to bet on any of these Bautista Agut matches because I'm still thinking about that time he played Big Foe. When was that? Over in Hamburg, towards the end of last month. I remember how that felt, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good whatsoever. People still mention that every now and then. I don't blame you. I still think about it too. I'd be devastated if that's what I mean. I'd just be gutted. It meant, look, this is what's happened. He's got me fucking nervous to bet against him now. You can't live life like that, can you? Absolutely not. Not today, Roberto. I think Jakob Mensik's going to make swift work of you, son. I do. I don't think you've got the minerals anymore. Mensik's a different beast. He is. Especially when he finds his rhythm, when he finds his game. Very, very tough to beat. I wouldn't mind rolling the dice with Mensik today. Not at all. But you let me know what you're doing on that. And then we will crack on to Alexei Popyrin, Jack Draper. It's time. Jack Draper squad. Where are we? It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a minute, or at least it seems that way. These have played each other once before, back in Doha. That was this year as well. That went the way of Jack Draper 6-2, and then a tiebreak in the second over on the hard court. Quite a decent favourite in this. I'm seeing 1.25. That 1.3, no, my eyes are playing tricks. Call it 1.25. Beats him. I feel like he's already beat him. I really do. I mean, exactly what I expected today from Draper. I mean, yesterday rather. Well, it's 20-11 at night, so it technically still is today. But depending on what time you get to see this, you know what I mean. It's fucking irrelevant anyway. He looked decent against Jensen Brooksby. Exactly what I expected. Straight sets, easy as you like. Piece of cake. Alexei Popyrin. Now, prior to this match, I know he put in an absolute stinker against Bergs. One of the worst matches I've seen all year. I knew he was going to get it done against Vukic. I knew he was. He took that first set rather convincingly, 6-2 to be exact. He should have won that tiebreaker in the second set. He should have won that, but he didn't. And then it took yet another tiebreaker in the third set for him to see off Alexander Vukic. Is it just as easy as, if you're struggling that much against Vukic, what do you think Jack Draper's going to do to you on the grass over in Queens? I don't know, man. I dread to think. I really do. Do you think Popyrin stands a chance in this? What am I talking about? What am I talking about here? I mean, look, I'm glad he got a win. Popyrin most definitely needed a win after that shit show over in Den Bosch. But I'm not convinced enough. I'm not. I'm going to quote George St. Pierre and say I wasn't impressed by your performance. I just think Jack Draper's too much. I do. I just think he's a completely different beast entirely. Alexei Popyrin, even if he does turn up and play a little bit surprisingly better than what maybe we're expecting, I fear it may not be enough. It's Jack Draper in Queens, innit? Jack Draper in Queen, folks. I mean, do I need to say any more? Do I need to say any more? We could be in for an interesting match. Me personally, I think Alexei Popyrin might turn up and look like a very frail Australian wombat just wandering around that court. Yeah, just there for the taking. There for the taking. Jack Draper snaps him up like a fucking buzzard. Someone tweet Jerry O'Connell for me. I'm feeling some kangaroo Jack today. I really am. It's the only way. It's the only way for me. I've got him on the outright, 5-1, well 4-1 rather, 5 on the decimal each way. I'll be damned if he gets beat today. I feel sick if Jack Draper gets beat today, man. I really will. 1.25, nice little parlay booster. You know, if you need a little bit of something just to get you where you want to be. You can't play like that against easy Bergs and then struggle so much. 2 tiebreakers against Alexander Vukic, and then expect me to think you're going to come over here to London, out of all places, Queen's Club, and take on the mighty Jack. Absolutely not. Get the fuck out of here, mate. Jack Draper squad, where are we? Once again, it's the only way. It's the only way. It always is. And then 2 more. Got Dan Evans. Dan Evans and Bienach. Should be a good match. Be a decent match indeed. Well, Bienach looked decent against Impechi Pericard. We called that, didn't we? We called that. Just about got past him, but we had the feeling he would. 3 sets is what was needed. As opposed to Dan Evans, though. He just made light work a big foe, didn't he? We spoke about that the other day. Maybe not as in-depth as what we should, but I don't really want to. I like to forget about shit like that. I really do. Like I said, big foe. Looked like he just turned up 10 minutes prior to that match as if he'd been drinking beer on the stoop all morning. Just effortless. Very lacklustre and effortless. Good shit from Dan Evans, but based on the piss-poor nature of Big Foe's performance, I'm afraid there's not a lot that I can take from that. It does kind of put a little bit of a dampener on the win for me. Do you know Dan Evans plays good on the grass. He does. It's no secret. Probably shouldn't have been beating Big Foe like that. Head to head is 3-1 between these two. 3-1 to Bienach, that is. Beat him last year in Queens due to retirement. And then he beat him last year in Barcelona. You're going back to 2022 when Dan Evans got that win, and obviously Bienach won the match before that. Brandon Nakashima's pretty much beat him everywhere, and I think he still possesses more than enough capabilities to beat someone like Dan Evans pretty much anywhere as well. I do. I don't really like to use this word, and especially against someone like Dan Evans. He's my homeboy, and I always support Dan, but bit of a fluke against Big Foe. I didn't see him playing that bad. I didn't. If this was a grass court in the States, Big Foe would have munched on him. Facts. Is he going to get past Bienach? Would I call you crazy if you just want to have a little punt on Dan Evans plus 10 points once again? You think he's going to scalp another American over here in London? Possible. It's very possible. I don't know. I think Bienach... I think Brandon Nakashima wants to play, you know what I mean? I think at the very least he at least wants to fucking try and win these games and try and get some titles or try and get some deep runs anyway. I think he's a better player. In the current state, in the current day, I would have to say Brandon Nakashima is a little bit trustworthy, well, more trustworthy on the day. On the grass, would you say so? I'd say so on the grass. 3-1 this year, 9-5 last year. Yeah, sound. Look, I don't think Dan Evans is getting any better anyway. Fancy Bienach to be able to neutralise the game. Get that one done. It's not going to be easy. It won't be easy. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow what Dan Evans is really made of here. Me, folks. My apologies. Where were we? Dan Evans, Bienach. Yeah. We'll see how Dan Evans turns up. If he takes out Bienach, then I'll let Big Foe off. But I can't see it happening. I really can't. Brandon Nakashima, 1.4, 1.5. Somewhere in between, depending where you look. I think you should be alright with him. I say that. I think the majority of that crowd will definitely want Dan Evans to win this one, so just approach it with a little bit of caution. You could be in for an over spot. Ultimately, I do think Bienach probably should get that one done. And then wrapping this up for tonight, we've got Rune and McDonald. Nice. Should be a good one, this. Both of these are decent on the clay. Head to head is one apiece. They've not seen each other since 2023, and that was both matches, both coming on the hard court. Rune got it done over at Indian Wells, and then McDonald got it done due to Holger Rune retiring over at the Cincinnati Masters. Now I'm seeing Holger Rune 1.4. Now if you're going to go on this, you're going to have to go now. Very good chance by the time this video comes out, that's dropped. Maybe not significantly, but I can see it. I can literally see it happening right now. That's if you think he's going to win. You may not. You may think McDonald's going to win this one. You do need to let me know your thoughts on this. I could do with a little bit of assistance. I thought Holger Rune looked solid against Christopher O'Connell. Who was he supposed to play? I can't even remember. I took him and then it was void, and then he played O'Connell. Fuck, that's terrible. That's embarrassing. I can't even remember who he was supposed to be playing. Doesn't matter. One of you will remind me anyway. I'm pretty sure you will. Looked decent against O'Connell. Mackenzie McDonald. I say he looked fairly decent against Monfils. But as we discussed earlier on in the week, what can we even take for that anymore? You know, post TikTok video or Instagram live Monfils. Like how much are we taking from this anymore? You know, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit unfair to say. I do think Mackenzie McDonald's good on the grass though, you know, all that aside. Looked decent in qualifying, didn't drop a set, Kovacevic and then Henry Sill, and then didn't drop a set against their Gael Monfils. That's what he turned up looking like anyway. It's got to be Holger Rune, right? It's got to be Holger Rune. I quite fancy Holger Rune to put in a decent little run over in Queens. I quite fancy Holger Rune to put in a decent run over in Wimbledon. You know, me saying it and him executing it. Two completely different things, are they not? I do think Mackenzie McDonald may be a little bit more bedded in to the grass as opposed to Holger Rune. 6-2 on the surface so far for McDonald. 1-0 for Holger Rune, just that one game coming today against Christopher O'Connell, like we've just said, and he did play well. But Mackenzie McDonald's been playing well ever since we've come onto the grass. Seriously. Didn't drop a set in qualifying for Den Bosch, beat Bellucci, took a set off Khachanov, ended up losing that one, close game. And then 3 that I've just mentioned, 6-2. Not bad. Not bad. Much bigger sample size to go off as opposed to his opponent. But I suppose you've just got to go off what you know. You just got to go off what you know. I quite like Holger Rune in this one. I do. 21-12 on the year for Holger Rune. 22-14 for Mackenzie McDonald. Both have been decent, man. They have. Both have been fairly decent. But I didn't see Mackenzie McDonald put in that performance in Barcelona and take that title. I didn't. I haven't forgot that. I think on the day, providing both turn up, even if both turn up and play the best tennis, I'd fancy Holger Rune to just edge this one out, even if it has to go that way. If not, ultimately I think Holger Rune probably should be winning this. I know. We say it all the time, they should win this one and they don't, so I feel like they should win that and it's a lot closer than whatever, but on paper, Holger Rune should get this one done. There was nothing in his first round game to suggest that he weren't going to hold up against Mackenzie McDonald. I just think there's levels. Mackenzie McDonald barely in the top 100, 98 in the world. Holger Rune inside the top 10, currently 9th in the world. High expectations for Holger Rune. That's what I've got. I've also got high hopes as well. I think he should get this done. I think he should get it done. Would I roll the dice on a little parlay with Holger Rune? I don't see why not. He's 1.4. I mean, I don't see why. If you can get Holger Rune at 1.4, this would be point at the start of the pick. Just get it now. Just get it now. Because you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be absolutely hammered. You can just see it. If you want to take McDonald on the points, you can be my Christopher guest. I couldn't talk it off that. Me personally, I do think Holger Rune is the winner in that. And you do with it what you will. I wish you the best of luck with your bets. Let me know what you're going for. Like I said at the start, mine will be in that pinned comment. Very well then, folks. That's going to do us another one in the bag. I'm going to be saying good night to you. Have yourself a good one. Yeah, you take it easy. Take care of yourselves. And you take care of one another. Be sure to get yourselves involved, share with the group, don't be shy. Like and subscribe as well. Like and subscribe wherever you go after this. Tell them that I sent you. See you later, yeah. Jack Draper squad, where are we? Make yourself heard. Let's go get that cash today. Enjoy the matches, folks, and I'll see you tomorrow.